Belle Gunness's story, enriched with every known detail and insight. The tale of Belle Gunness, the Black Widow of Porte. Belle Gunness, born Brynhild Paulsdatter Storseth on November 11, 1859, in Selbu, Norway, was destined to become one of history's most infamous serial killers. Her life, a tapestry of tragedy, cunning manipulation, and chilling murders, stands as a grim testament to the lengths of human depravity. Belle's story weaves through continents, marriages, and a trail of bodies that left the world horrified and mystified. Early life in Norway. Dreams of prosperity. Belle Gunness was the youngest of 8 children born into the Storseth family. Her father, Paul Peterson Storseth, was a stonemason, and her mother, Berit Olsdatter, worked tirelessly to sustain their humble home. Growing up in Selbu, a small village surrounded by Norway's rugged beauty, young Brynhild was known for her determination, even in the face of poverty. According to local legends, an incident in her teenage years may have marked the beginning of her descent into darkness. A local boy reportedly attacked her during a dance, resulting in severe injuries. The boy later died mysteriously, fueling rumors of foul play. Whether this is true or mere folklore, Brynhild's ambitions to escape poverty were unwavering. At age 21, Brynhild immigrated to the United States, adopting the Americanized name Belle Gunness. With little more than her dreams and determination, she sought to create a new life. Marriage to Mads Sorensen. Tragedy or treachery? Belle settled in Chicago, where she married her first husband, Mads Ditlev Anton Sorensen, in 1884. Together, they opened a candy store, hoping to carve out a slice of the American dream. But tragedy struck when the store burned to the ground under mysterious circumstances. Fortunately for Belle and Mads, the business was heavily insured, and they collected a substantial payout. This pattern of suspicious misfortune continued. The couple's home also burned down, yielding another insurance windfall. Tragically, 2 of their children, Caroline and Axel, died young. While their deaths were attributed to acute colitis, modern analysis suggests they may have been poisoned, as symptoms like nausea, vomiting, and abdominal pain align with arsenic poisoning. In 1900, Mads himself died suddenly. The official cause was heart failure, but the timing raised eyebrows. He died on the only day when 2 of his life insurance policies overlapped. Belle collected a large payout, using the money to purchase a farm in LaPorte, Indiana. She left Chicago behind, taking with her both the insurance money and a sinister reputation. L.A. Porte. The farm of death. Belle's farm in LaPorte seemed idyllic at first glance, but it quickly earned a darker reputation. In 1902, Belle married her second husband, Peter Gunness, a widower with 2 young children. Just 1 week into their marriage, Peter's infant daughter died while in Belle's care. Tragedy struck again 8 months later when Peter himself met a grisly end. According to Belle, a meat grinder fell from a high shelf, striking him on the head. The explanation was dubious, and the coroner labeled Peter's death as questionable. Despite these suspicions, Belle once again profited handsomely from life insurance payouts. Peter's surviving child was sent away, leaving Belle alone to expand her schemes. The Lonely Heart scheme. Following Peter's death, Belle began placing personal ads in newspapers, targeting wealthy, unattached men. Her ads promised companionship and financial security, but they were bait for a deadly trap. Here's an example of one such ad. Personal. Widow, 42. With a large farm in one of the finest districts in LaPorte County, Indiana. Desires to make the acquaintance of a gentleman equally well provided, with a view to joining fortunes. No triflers need apply. Men from across the country answered her call, arriving at Belle's farm with cash and belongings, eager to start a new life. But none of these men were ever seen again. Belle's hired hand, Ray Lamfer, later testified that the men were murdered shortly after arriving, their bodies dismembered and buried on the property. Among the victims was John Moe, who arrived with over $1,000 in cash, and Ole B. Budsberg, whose disappearance was linked to his visit to Belle's farm. Trunks belonging to these men were later found in Belle's possession. The disappearance of Andrew Helgelien in 1908, Belle lured her final victim, Andrew Helgelien, to LaPorte. Helgelien, a wealthy South Dakota bachelor, had been corresponding with Belle for months. When he disappeared, his brother, Asil Helgelien, grew suspicious. Asil traveled to Porte to confront Belle, but she insisted that Andrew had left her farm. Asil didn't believe her and reported his concerns to the authorities. The fire that exposed the truth on April 28, 1908, Belle's farmhouse erupted in flames. Inside, authorities discovered the charred bodies of Belle's 3 children and a headless adult woman. Initially, the headless corpse was identified as Belle, but doubts quickly emerged due to discrepancies in height and weight. As investigators combed the ruins, they made a gruesome discovery: multiple bodies buried around the farm. Some were dismembered, their identities erased by time and decay. The victims included men who had answered Belle's ads and even her foster daughter, Jenny Olsen, who had mysteriously vanished years earlier. Ray Lampher, Belle's former hired hand, was arrested and charged with arson. During his trial, Lampher claimed that Belle had faked her death and fled, leaving behind the headless body as a decoy. Whether Lampher's account was truthful or an attempt to deflect blame remains uncertain. Theories about Belle's fate: the headless corpse found in the fire was never conclusively identified as Belle Gunness. Some believe she escaped and lived out her life under a new identity. Over the years, there were numerous reported sightings of Belle, but none were confirmed. In 1931, a woman named Esther Carlson was arrested in Los Angeles for poisoning a man. Witnesses claimed she resembled Belle Gunness, but her identity was never verified. Legacy: the Black Widow of Porte. Belle Gunness's story endures as one of the most chilling chapters in American criminal history. Her cunning, her exploitation of societal norms, and her sheer ruthlessness have cemented her status as one of the most infamous female serial killers. By the time her crimes were uncovered, Belle had potentially killed over 40 victims. She used charm and deceit to lure men to their deaths, driven by an insatiable greed for wealth. Her farm, once a symbol of rural prosperity, became known as the murder farm. Closing remarks. Belle Gunness is a name that continues to haunt the dark corners of American history. Her case is a chilling reminder of the potential evil that can lurk behind a smile. A widow, a mother, and a serial killer. Her story is one that will never be fully understood, but it will forever remain one of the most shocking chapters in criminal history. What we learn from Belle Gunness. The story of Belle Gunness is a haunting reminder of how seemingly ordinary people can lead lives filled with unimaginable darkness. Here are some key lessons we can take away from this chilling tale. The power of deception. Belle Gunness' ability to deceive everyone around her, from her husbands to the authorities, highlights how powerful and dangerous deception can be. She exploited trust, manipulating victims into believing she was someone they could rely on. The danger of blind trust. Belle's victims were lured into her trap through personal ads, offering companionship and the promise of a better life. This serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of trusting someone based solely on superficial qualities or distant communication. The dark side of greed. At the heart of Belle's crimes was her desire for wealth. She was willing to kill anyone standing in her way. Her actions highlight the extreme lengths to which some individuals will go to fulfill their insatiable greed. The impact of isolation. Belle's life in a rural farm setting provided her with the isolation needed to carry out her crimes unnoticed. This raises questions about how isolation can enable harmful behaviors and how we must remain vigilant to prevent such tragedies. The mystery of human nature. Belle Gunness was able to manipulate her public image as a devoted mother and loving wife, showing how people can mask their true nature behind a facade. Her story underscores how appearances can be deceiving and how we should be cautious in our judgments. If you found Belle Gunness' story as chilling and fascinating as we did, make sure you don't miss out on our upcoming videos exploring more real-life crime cases and dark tales. Subscribe to Plunge into Crime for weekly deep dives into the most intriguing and mysterious criminal stories from history. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed the content. Comment below with your thoughts on Belle Gunness. Was she a cold-blooded killer? Do you think circumstances play a role in shaping her crimes? Your thoughts and engagement are always appreciated. Hit the bell icon so you're notified every time we release new content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time with another twisted tale from the world of crime.